Welcome to the John Freakin Muir Pod. Lace up those boots and sling on the pack for a romp through trails, short and long. With your host and Renaissance man, Doc. It's time to embrace the suck.
Welcome back to another week on the trail. I'm Doc, and this is the John Freakin Muir Pod. Let's start off with a reminder. If you are enjoying the podcast, take just a minute and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. And if you're not enjoying the pod, well, just go ahead and keep that to yourself. All right, on to this week's content. I am very excited to welcome to the pod this week a seasoned thru hiker, philosopher, filmmaker, and president of the Croatian Long Distance Trail Association, Nikola Horvat Tesla, who has a real hit on his hands with his latest project, Why Do I Hike? Welcome to the John Freakin Muir Pod, Nikola.
Thanks, and it's nice to be here.
Fantastic. So first things first, I want to find out if you have a trail name, because here on the podcast, we typically go by trail name. So it doesn't say Doc on my paychecks or on my driver's license. It's got my name on it, but Doc is my trail name. And I know that you've done the PCT, so I have to assume that you have a trail name.
Yeah, my trail name is Tesla, right? So why Tesla? If you want, I can explain, tell a little short story about it.
Absolutely. We want to hear the background on that.
Yeah, so I was hiking on the Pacific Crest Trail, and everybody was like, oh, which will be my trail name? So that was my concern also, like what will be my trail name? So in the beginning I had some experiences with blisters, so I was like telling people how to pop the blisters, so at one point Blister Master just popped up and I was like, whoa, I don't want to be Blister Master, and yeah, we were like hiking
that's
on.
an unfortunate name. Yeah, Blister Monster.
So we were hiking on, and at some point I was at Casa de Luna. That's somewhere this great trail angel place on the PCT, which was run by Terry Anderson. And the guys were playing cards and everybody was drinking beer or soda, and it was a great place to hang out. So I just came in there, and the people were like asking me, where are you from, what's your name, everybody was super polite, and I said I'm Nikola from Croatia. And this guy Alex, he was like, oh, Nikola from Croatia, you know what, I don't care what anybody else says, but from now on you're Tesla for me, because Nikola Tesla, famous physicist, was from Croatia. He was born in Croatia. So Nikola Tesla, like, it's not a trail name because of a car. It's because of a famous physicist. But when I was hiking, I was just fist bumping, fellow hikers, and I was like, I'm Tesla, and everybody was like, oh, like a car. And I'm like, no, like a physicist. So that was like once, and the third time, and then 100th time, somebody said, oh, like a car. And I was like sick of it. And I was like, yeah, like a car.
you gave in.
Yeah, I just like, yeah. You have Tesla car? Yeah. So that's great. My trail name story, yeah.
And I have to confess, as I saw the documentary and I reached out to you, I didn't realize that Tesla was your trail name. I thought it was just part of your name. I thought it was Nikola Horvat Tesla. I thought you had a 3-name moniker. And so I'm glad I finally understand that no, Tesla is your trail name. So that's perfect.
Yeah. It's my trail name, and there's one fun fact. If you watch the movie, in the end, there's this song that one guy is singing, and it's a great song about a true hike. And it's written by Alex Detweiler, Hidalgo. And that's the guy who gave me my trail name. So Yeah, when I heard that song, we were like, we are Facebook friends,
Mm-hmm.
and on the Facebook he just sang it, and I was like, whoa, this is beautiful, beautiful song, and it's perfect for my documentary. And he said, yeah, sure, use it for your documentary.
Yeah, that song and the rest of the songs in your documentary were just incredible. The soundtrack was awesome.
Yeah, I like it. I found I didn't order songs. I didn't uh, how do you say it? I didn't had a musician by my side and tell him what to do. I had to buy music
Mm-hmm.
on some online platforms.
Right.
So, but it's people are doing great songs
Mm-hmm.
worldwide. So I had a big choice, big variety that I could choose out from. Yeah, it's a pretty good soundtrack. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the documentary itself is so inspiring. And we're going to get to it a little bit later and talk about, how you came to make it and what the message is, what you want people to walk away with. But we'll get to that later. First thing I want to do is talk to you about, have you listened to the podcast before?
Yeah, I listened to some. Yeah.
Okay. So you know that we have a regular feature on our podcast here. It's called the Pro Tip Insight of the Week. And that is any tip or trick or insight that you can share with our listeners to make their next outdoor adventure even better. And this is something that happens at the end of the episode. So as we get to the very end, I will turn to you and say, Tesla, what is your pro tip insight of the week? Don't be surprised by that, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Another feature we've been doing this season is the must bring gear review. Here's how it works. If you were to let a stranger pack your bag with pretty much generic gear for a multi-day hike, what is the one specific piece of gear you would insist on being packed? And if you got a particular brand for that specific piece of gear, even better. So Tesla, what is your must bring piece of gear?
Well, I was thinking about that question a lot of times, and I think it will be La Sportiva Wildcats Trail Runners. Along with, I have to put one more item inside, and that's Super Feet insoles, because that's just like, for me, that's like inseparable,
Mm-hmm.
La Sportiva Wildcats and Super Feet blue insoles. Together, my perfect fit. I know that footwear for hiking is pretty difficult topic, because if you have 100 hikers, you have 200 feet, or foot, whatever. So it's difficult to say, this is the best hiking shoe, or this one's the best.
Mm-hmm.
I'm aware of that, but for me, La Sportiva Wildcats Trail Runner is perfect shoe. I have pretty narrow feet. It's long and narrow,
Mm-hmm.
and it suits me well. People with wider foot or feet, they find La Sportiva Wildcats too narrow. So for them, maybe it's not the right shoe. But for me, it's great. I'm not fan of Ultras. That's like pretty huge brand now for true
Mm-hmm.
hikers. I hate it. I hate zero drop. I had some pretty bad injuries on the Pacific Crest Trail because of bad footwear. So I'm pretty sure that this is the one item I have and I must have on my hikes. Yeah, La
Okay.
Sportiva Wildcats.
La Sportiva Wildcats with the blue insole.
Yeah, super feet blue insoles.
Super feet.
Definitely. Yeah,
Very good. Very
everything.
specific.
Yeah, everything else, some, for example, backpacks.
Mm-hmm.
I can manage with some other backpacks. I have
Right.
Osprey Atmos, but I can manage with some other. The same thing is with my sleeping system. My sleeping pad. I mean, it's Thermarest. It's great, but Big Agnes also works,
Right.
and it's the same thing with the tent. I use Big Agnes Tiger Wall, but MSR is as good.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the foot, for to keep my feet healthy, and so I can hike for a long time. I think that's must have for me.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. You can make do with just about anything else, different brands, different styles of camping gear or backpacking gear. But if your feet are miserable, the hike is miserable. So very important to make sure
Yeah,
you get that dialed in correctly.
absolutely. And I was injured on the Pacific Crest Trail after 1 month of hiking. I was near Aqua Dulce, and I got tendonitis on my right foot, and that was pretty painful, and I was miserable because the whole hike was in jeopardy. What if I cannot hike? So, and I had this pretty soft insoles, like gel insoles,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a bad choice with Mizuno trail runners, which were soft as well.
Mm-hmm.
So my feet were constantly doing this when I was hiking.
Mm-hmm.
They just was
Kind of
like
inverting. Yeah.
inverting all the
Yeah.
time. And after 1 month, my tendons got inflated,
Mm-hmm.
and that became a pretty painful problem. So I went to the doctors, and we made a X-rays. And he said, okay, nothing's broken. The bones are pretty good, but the tendons are inflated, and you have to rest for 3 weeks. And I was resting for 6 days already. And I was like, but what if I go hiking? Everything will be okay? And he said, yeah, but it will be painful. And I was like, yeah, right. So tomorrow I'm on the trail, embrace the suck, right?
That's right. Embrace the suck. You can't be sitting around for 3 weeks waiting for stuff like that.
No, especially if you're a foreigner in the United States. I don't have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Hotel is expensive. I will crush my budget.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, I will go slowly, but I'm going on back on the trail.
So it's too bad we didn't know each other back then, because right now you're in Croatia and I am about 30 minutes south of Acton, Agua Dulce.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
you could have roomed here.
Yeah. Too bad we didn't know each other before. Yeah.
All right. Hey, let's back up a little bit and talk about how you got involved in the outdoor experience. Let's talk about your background a little bit. Where'd you grow up? Big family. Growing up, did mom and dad take you on hikes or go camping? How did this all come to be?
Well, I have a bigger brother, so it was two of us, and mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
I was born and raised in Zagreb, that's capital of Croatia. Back then, in 1979, that was part of Yugoslavia. That's a bigger state that fell apart in, Yugoslavian war in 90s. So I wasn't hiking with my parents a lot. Back then, that was not so popular here in Croatia. So, here and there we went on some smaller hikes, nothing too big. So I was not infected like a little boy with scouting or camping or something like that. So no, but when I grew up, I was just like always searching for some adventures. For example, when me and my friends went on summer vacation, everybody went with trains and I don't know, cars, and I was like hitchhiking, like if I can say fuck cars, fuck trains, I'm gonna hitchhike, I'm gonna meet some new people,
Uh-huh.
So I was always hitchhiking and going around. And then when we went on vacation, friends were always like in this one house, and I was like hiking on other places. Oh, look at that peak, I'm going up there, is anybody coming with me? And like everybody's like, no, okay, I'm going alone. And then one year I met this guy from Poland, and we were like drinking on the beach in the evening, and I told him like, hey, let's go hike on that mountain over there. And he said, yeah, let's go. So we were like hiking together, And you know, little by little, I started to hike in the mountains with my brother. And my first big hike was, I was hiking from Zagreb to Medjugorje. And Medjugorje, that's like shrine, like Catholic shrine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 500 kilometers from Zagreb. Maybe that's like 300 miles.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, I had some religious experience. And I was like, okay, I will go, you know, on my foot in Medjugorje. So I went there, and it took me 12 days for 300 miles. And that's pretty, you know.
That's a good rate. That's a good clip. That's fast.
Yeah, that was fast. That was like maybe almost 30 miles a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I was 22, 23 years old, you know. So that was my first experience. And I wanted to know, you know, I was pretty religious back then. And I was like, what the God wants from me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Is he want me to go to become a priest, a monk, you know, to have a family? What does he want? So that was like that kind of a pilgrimage, get some answers. And then when I finished this pilgrimage, I was, you know, pretty empty with all those answers, no answers whatsoever. But I had one thing that stuck, and that was love for walking. You know, I fell in love for walking in that 12 days. So from then on, I started to hike in mountains more and more. And then one day, I was sitting in my room, and on my cell phone, my friend sent me a link. And on the link, it said Pacific Crest Trail. So I clicked it, and I saw this huge trail that I didn't know that even exists, something so huge back then. And I was like, whoa, this is so great. But this is impossible to hike, you know. You have to be a Superman, or at least Spider-Man, to hike it. Because I was like, no way, this is impossible. I'm, you know, just a plain guy. I cannot do it. So I just, you know, put the idea aside.
So Tesla, what year was that your friend sent you that link?
That was 2015.
Okay.
2015. And I was like, you know, okay, this is great, but you know, it's impossible. But you know, I started to explore on the internet. You know, I started to watch some YouTube videos, and I ran into this guy, Redbeard, and Backcountry Banter, and they were like hiking PCT that year, the 2015. And Alexandra Mason from England, she was writing a blog day by day, you know. So I was reading the blogs and watching the vlogs from those two Americans, and I was like, whoa, man. No, I was like stunned. This is great. This is great. This is great. And the most important thing was when I started to explore how to resupply on the trail, you know, because that was, for me, the biggest issue.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to carry 2,600 miles worth of food on your back. So you got to plan the resupplies.
Yeah, where's the food? Where can I get it? How to get it? You know. So I was pretty, you know, I didn't know, you know, how to do it, how to carry all that stuff. So I was starting to reading, and then I, you know, figured out, okay, so you can go to towns every 3, 4, 5 days. You can hitch. You can, you know, take a bus or something. You buy food, you go back, and you carry on. So I was, you know, reading. Sorry. And then at one point, I remember I just, and that was just one point in time, I just started to believe I can do it. That was just like a revelation, you know. I don't believe it, I can do it. And then I believe it. You know, I started to believe. And from that point, everything changes, you know. When you start to believe that you can do it, your mind shifts in some other direction, and all of a sudden you're perfectly capable of doing, whatever you believe in.
Yeah. I think that is one of the big lessons that transfers over from trail life to real life. And that is, you can accomplish some pretty amazing things out on the trail. I mean, walking from Mexico to Canada, 2,600 miles, you have to feel that if you can do that, you can do just about anything. And that moment in your mind, you're exactly right. When the switch flips on from, how could I possibly do this, to, oh yeah, I can do this. That moment of belief, that changes everything. So very, very important.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, later on in my life, I just used that, strategy. I wrote a book after the Pacific Crest Trail, and I published it by myself. I had no publisher. I didn't want no publishers,
Mm-hmm.
And then
What's the title of the book?
it's Bearing Epitaph. Bearing Epitaph, Pacific Crest Trail story, or
is it Bearing, Bearing?
yes, Bearing. Yeah, that's a town in Washington.
Okay.
And Epitaph, yeah, and subtitle is Surviving the Divorce on the Pacific Crest Trail. People can buy it on Amazon. There is like an ebook that people can buy. And that was like 2017. I wrote a book, and then the year after, I through hiked Croatian Long Distance Trail. I established it, and then I wrote a handbook, for true hikers of Croatian Long Distance Trail. What handbook is, and so on and so on, and I started to believe in myself pretty much, more and more. So yeah, Pacific Crest Trail definitely was big school of life.
Mm-hmm. And so this moment when the switch flicks and you believe, I can do this, how long from that moment to actually arriving at the Mexican border to start the trip?
Yeah, that's the most amazing story. I mean, that was somewhere around September 2015, when I was like, oh man, I believe I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And on 23rd of April of 2016, I was on the Pacific Crest Trail on the Mexican border, right? So in a matter of few months, right, I was on the trail.
Fantastic. And so you started in April. How long did the trip take you?
162 days. I finished on October 2nd on the Canadian border, right?
Mm-hmm. And what were some of your favorite moments from the Pacific Crest Trail hike?
Oh my God, lots of them.
Yeah.
So the first favorite moment is California. I just fell in love with California. It's stunning. The first day when I started hiking, I was like, so happy. That feeling of accomplishment, that I'm on the Pacific Crest Trail and I'm hiking the first miles, that first mile, number one, there's standing the green one. I was like, woo, I'm here, So that was a great moment. And then the first storm hit me on the Mount Laguna. And no, Mount, what's the first mountain? Is it Laguna? I think it's Laguna. Yeah, it was far ago. So yeah, Mount or Lake Laguna. No, Mount Laguna. Never mind.
We'll go with that. That's okay.
Yeah,
big storm.
First storm on the first big mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, putting the tent. It was super windy, and some hiker helped me. some guy from Germany, and because it was so windy, I couldn't do it on myself, and it was full of sand, and the wind blew the sand into my tent, and I was like, okay, this is not a good spot for camping. So I just put the tent down and I went on. So that day I hiked over 20 miles, and when you're starting to hike, when you're a rookie, 20-mile hike,
it's a big day. Yeah,
it's a big day, and it emerges like later on, and like a month from the first day, not the third day when you start hiking, and everybody was like, the next day, you hiked 22 miles, wow. So that was a great moment when I figured out that I can do stuff that I was reading about,
right.
And then encounter with cougar, with mountain lion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that was near the town of Tehachapi. So that was stunning moment. It was scary, but it was great. It was 3:00 in the morning, and there's a mountain lion just like in the bushes, just by the trail. And I was like, what's that? So I'm hiking on, and I'm just like turning around with my headlamp. And there's a big cat, and I was like, whoa, what to do now, So I was just standing there. Don't turn your back to the mountain lion. And then the cat left. So I was just like, hike on, I pull out my knife, just like, if she or he attacks me. So that was fun moment. And encounter with black bear was near Mount Shasta. Yeah, that was, sorry, that was
Those
encounter,
are some memorable moments. Yeah,
memorable moments when encounter with the bear. I remember, I was scared. It was first encounter. The bear was like 1 meter from me, and I was like, whoa, eating Snickers in the morning, and I was, just like, whoa, and I go back, and the bear go up. He was eating some berries, and I was like, what to do now? So at some point I had to, stand my ground, and I was just like, I was playing tough and big, and I just yelled at the bear, just get the fuck out of here, bear. And he ran away. And then I figured it out, okay, he's just like a kid. He doesn't know that he's strong and bigger than me. I know it, but I don't have to show it, I can play big, and I will stand my ground, and he will respect that, he will not attack me. So that was huge school of life, school of outdoors life for me. How take, how to, play along with animals, how to be alpha male in the situation with animals. I know with grizzly bears that usually don't work, but black bears,
grizzly bears, they know they're bigger than you.
They know, yeah, we're just little ants, they're super big. So yeah, but with these animals on Pacific Crest Trail, I just I had good experiences. Great experience comes from hiking Mount Whitney, summiting Mount Whitney. I think it was one of the best hikes of my life. So I was in a Crabtree campground down there.
Yep.
And I was, I decided next morning to hike Mount Whitney. So I woke up in the morning, 5:00, and I started to hike. And yeah, beautiful. It was a beautiful day.
Nice.
Beautiful hike. Stunning views up there. And, I met some people, and yeah, it was great. And then after Mount Whitney, you have Forester Pass.
Yes. Yep.
It's beautiful pass. Hiking from Crabtree campground to Forester Pass is maybe one of the most beautiful parts of Pacific Crest Trail. And then Mother Pass, and then Pinchot Pass, Bishop Pass. Then there is this Real Lakes after Independence, the
Yeah.
town of Independence, when I went down and then came back, and Real Lakes are beautiful,
Yeah.
insanely beautiful place. So, and then all to the John Muir Pass.
Mm-hmm.
There is a hut up there. I slept inside. Beautiful, beautiful memories. I think that's one of the peaks of my PCT
Nice.
through hike.
I was going to ask you if the Sierras were a highlight of the PCT hike for you, because that's you're really talking our language now. With this is the John Freakin Muir podcast, and we spend a lot of time on the pod talking to guests who have done the John Muir Trail and talking about these very sites that you've mentioned, Forester Pass and Mather Pass, and you're right, that stretch of trail from Crabtree to Forester is just incredible. Beautiful, beautiful place.
Yeah, I was just filming. I had my GoPro, so I was filming, and I was just like in awe all the time, like, wow, what's this?
Mm-hmm.
I never seen something so beautiful. So yeah, it's stunning. And I was hiking alone because my hiking buddies, they left before me because of my injury,
Mm-hmm.
So to make a long story short, I was hiking alone through whole Sierras, and I was kind of lonely, but I was learning. I think that was a big school for me
Mm-hmm.
to learn how to hike alone. And I think that's a big and important thing to learn when you're through hiking Pacific Crest Trail, what any other long trail, to learn how to hike alone. Because in the first part of the Pacific Crest Trail, there's lots of people, and you meet everybody there.
Right.
Every day, lots of hikers, lots of parties, lots of everything, and beers and trail towns, everything. And once you hit Kennedy Meadows, things change. And then when I started to hike, a few days I was hiking with this Korean guy, Jake, and then at Crabtree Meadows, he fell in love with some Chinese girl, and they were like couple, And in the morning, I was just, ringing the bell of his tent, like, Tinder, hey, are we going? And he was like, no, I'm staying here with my girl. And I'm like, shit, I'm alone. Okay, never mind.
You were the third wheel. Sorry.
Yeah, third wheel. It's a no-go. Okay, bye. See you later. So I went on, and it was a great experience for me, because later on in Washington, when I was hiking, I had this, really big issue with my now ex-wife, but then it was my wife.
Mm-hmm.
And, we were basically breaking apart
Mm-hmm.
at that point of my journey. And that was super painful for me.
Sure.
And if I didn't have this experience of hiking alone in Sierras, I don't know if I could make it to survive that loneliness in Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you hike PCT, people just bailing, they're just bailing. One for, every day somebody bails, and there's like thousands of people in Southern California, but in Washington there's like just a few,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't meet so much people. And I was basically, hiking alone also in Washington, with this burden of divorce that it's coming. And it was super tough. But Sierras, the loneliness of the Sierras
Mm-hmm.
that I experienced was like something that strengthened me to
Mm-hmm.
survive the end.
Right.
So yeah.
Right. Yep. Totally get that. All right. Hey, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to finish up a little bit more on the PCT, and then we're going to talk about the Croatian Long Distance Trail and your involvement with that project. Sounds pretty spectacular. So stay tuned for that. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Nikola Horvat Tesla. I'm the first Croat that through hiked Pacific Crest Trail, and I'm the author of the documentary Why Do I Hike? And you're listening to the John Freakin Muir Podcast.
Okay, welcome back. We are talking to Tesla. about his PCT hike, kind of finishing up there. And I always want to make a point of asking my PCT hikers on the podcast here about their experience in Washington and finishing up, because I know it's a battle against the elements. It's a race against the elements. You typically start in the spring and you're finishing as winter is descending. And up in Washington, when the winter starts, you've got freezing cold rain, you've got possibility of snow. And so what was your experience finishing up in Washington? And if you can, I'd love to hear about one of my favorite topics on the PCT, and that is the Goat Rock Wilderness.
Yeah, so my troubles with the rain started in Oregon. at the end of the Oregon, I had the first big rain. I mean, weather-wise, weather-wise, I was pretty lucky. It was not so rainy year, so I didn't have 7 days of rain or something like that. But it was rainy at the end, and the first big storm hit me at the end of Oregon, and I remember the Flying Dutchman and myself were freezing, and you always find somebody when it's dangerous, when it's tough, you hook up with somebody,
right?
And you hike along with him. So this Dutch guy was pretty fun guy to talk with. So we were hiking, and that morning the rain started to fall, and we were like, oh no. And I remember at one point it was freezing. We stopped, and I wanted to open the cheese strings, in plastic wraps, and I couldn't do it because my fingers were so cold,
Yeah, they don't work. They don't work at that temperature, right?
Nope. and the Flying Dutchman is like, come on, give it to me. And he's like, and he cannot do it also. And I was like, you see, it's too cold. So we were eating, something else. And that day we hiked 35 miles, I think something like that, without stopping. We didn't stop. We stopped just to try to eat what we can open. And then the next time we stopped, it was, we went down to was the Cascade Locks, right? It's the border between Oregon and Washington.
Right.
So that was 35-mile hike. We just put the tents on some parking lot, and we were we went into the tents, and we just started laughing to our misery. We're like, look at us. We were eating our food oh man, it feels so good to lie down, and we're laughing our asses off, because we're smiling for this misery, But the next day we just hiked 3 miles, and then we took the rest of the day off. And then Washington was pretty tough after the White Pass. That was super hilly, super mountainy, ups and downs. So when the rain hits in that areas, it's no fun. So I had one. It was my birthday. It was 17th of September, and I was camping with a friend of mine, and I was waken up by rain pounding on my tent, and I'm like, no, not today. It's my birthday. Please, no, don't. But the rain was, falling anyways. So I woke up.
Tesla, Mother Nature doesn't care if it's your birthday.
Yeah,
she does not care.
Maybe she was celebrating,
Could be.
Yippee! Here's the water. And yeah, maybe it was champagne, that was dripping from the clouds. And I just started to hike, alone, because, you just wake up, you hike, and then later on you sometimes, meet up again with a friend or not, whatever. So I was hiking, and at some point, the winds. I went from a western side of a mountain. The trail went on the eastern side of the mountain, and the storm was hitting from the east, from the ocean. And on that side of the mountain, it was so windy that at some point I was almost falling down because it blew me away from the trail, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it was super freezing because of the wind, right? And I was soaked. And I was looking at my half mile app, no gut hooks. I had, you know, the old one.
Right.
And I was looking like, where is the road? I want to hitchhike. I want to take a hitch to the town, you know. I want to get out of the wilderness. I'm you know, I'm feeling pretty bad, and it's dangerous. You know, hypothermia is, you know, a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that the first road is like 30 miles from me, and I already hiked like maybe 15 miles. So it's impossible for me to reach it. And at one point I was just hiking, and I saw some tarps, blue tarps, you know, and then I'm like, what's that, you know? And then there's like this van on some dirt road, and there's like this wooden sign. It says PCT Detour, and I'm like, what's that? So I'm coming there, and there is a smoke, fire, and I'm like, whoa, please let it be what I think it is. And then I came there, and really it was a trail magic. This guy put the tarps around his van. There was a fire, and the first thing he asked me is, do you want some hot chocolate? And I was like, yes, please, mister. And it was so good. He gave me bananas and oranges, right? And some of my hiking friends were there. We were heating on this fire, and it was amazing. And that guy, he had a trail name that was pretty interesting. It was MVP, like most valuable player. And I was like, oh yeah, I know why you have that trail name. This is MVP, you know, the mother of MVPs. And people, you know, everybody who came just stayed there. But I had to go. I had some arrangements with some American friend to meet him at Snoqualmie Pass, and so I had to go, and it was so tough to leave the fireplace. It was like, oh man, I would love to say, but I have to go. So I went away, and I don't know, maybe after 2 hours of hiking, you know, it was starting to be dark, you know, and I was like, okay, there's this road, and I will camp there. And when I get to this road, I see another tarp and some, you know, flags, and I hear, you know, people talking. I'm like, what's that? And there is a truck, and whoa, that's another trail magic. And I was stunned, you know. And I'm coming there, and this guy, PCT True Hikers know him. It's Stumbling Norwegian, and you know, he's coming to greet me, and he's carrying a bottle of whiskey, and he's like, happy birthday, Tesla. Because the friends that came before me, they told him, oh, the guy has a birthday, and he will come, you know, any moment now. And he's like, okay, let's, you know, make a surprise. And he's like, happy birthday, Tesla. And he's bringing the whiskey, and I'm drinking, and I'm on the verge of my tears, you know. I'm like, whoa, what's this? And he's making burgers. And I was like, man, this is so precious. I mean, what a day. The
Jackpot.
Worst day ever.
Jackpot.
And the greatest day ever in one.
Wow, that's incredible. Incredible.
And regarding the snow, I had the snow on my last day. I mean, the day before before my finish, the snow started to fall, and it was not big snow. it was maybe, I don't know, centimeter and a half, 2 centimeters of snow. But I had a problem. I saw the trail goes down into some meadow, and that was, I think, a rock pass or something like that. And it's going down there, and I saw my friend hiking down, but I saw some trail on the left. It's go just like on the same altitude, but by the mountain. And I'm like, I'm going on the left. I don't know where to go down and then up again. And it says abandoned trail. And I'm like, well, it seems good, right? What bad can happen on abandoned trail? Everything's perfect, So I just went on, and at some point the trail was destroyed by the weather, the rains, the rock falls. But I didn't go back, so I would just like go up and up and down. And at some point, this water, drenches were like 4 meters deep, and I couldn't get out. So I had to go down, and these rocks that I was hiking on, they were like these boulders, it's huge.
Right.
And I was like, at one point I started almost to fall from the rock, but I it was pretty dangerous. So that's the day before I finished the Pacific Crest Trail, I almost get myself heavily injured, So
right. Well, you've covered almost 2,600 miles by that point, right? So you can accomplish just about anything. Abandoned trail, that doesn't matter. I can handle that.
I don't want to go down and up again. I can go on an abandoned trail. It sounds pretty good, right?
That's also something right there, Tesla. You've gone 2,600 miles and you say, I'm not going downhill again. I'm done with downhill.
Yeah. But that point was later on. I was sleeping at that point that day, because every camp was taken, and everything was super rocky. So I couldn't. So I was hiking. It was night, and then I went on this spot, and it was beautiful spot, but it was super cold. It was temperatures were like -8 Celsius. I don't know Fahrenheit, unfortunately, but that's like 8 degrees below freezing, right? That's a lot. And then the next day, I went down and then up, and on my app, there was like, there is no more up hills from this point on. And I was like, yeah, no, this is the real thing. Nice. And yeah, so Goat Rocks Wilderness, right? You asked me about that.
Yeah.
Well, when I started PCT, I mean, before I started PCT, I had some points, some monumental points I was, craving for. One of those was Goat Rocks Wilderness. And I was like, I just, pray for spirits, Indian spirits or whatever. When I get there, there will be no fog. The Goat Rocks will be clear of fog. And that was the case. I was so lucky.
Nice.
And I was in pretty bad shape when I was hiking there. I call it beauty resistance, because I was no more hiking just, oh, this is beautiful. And I was just like, I was just crushing miles. And there is one pretty interesting story. I have to go back in Mammoth Lakes. When I was living in Mammoth Lakes, I was still, stunned by everything. And it's Mammoth Lakes, beautiful nature. Yep. One of the most beautiful parts of PCT is there. And I'm back on trail, and I met those two trail maintenance guys. So we were talking about, redwoods and something like that. And this guy says that he's doing the section hikes, and that once he was hiking in Washington, and he ran into this thru hiker, and he asked him like, "Hey, where are you going today?" And the thru hiker said, "Wherever 30 miles takes me." And this trail maintenance guy, he was just pissed because of that. He was just like, "That's not the way to hike. that's bad. You don't enjoy it. You know, but he was a section hiker, so he didn't had experience of a true hike, you know, big true hike. So I was with this guy. I was like, yeah, that's not the way you hike it. You have to enjoy it. You have to go slow if you need. You don't have to rush. You don't have to run. Few months later, I'm in Washington and I'm hiking on the Goat Rocks Wilderness, you know, and I'm sick of everything. But I'm on the Goat Rocks. You see Mount Rainier is just in front of you. Mount St. Helens is on your left. There's this beautiful ridge. Beautiful. One of the most beautiful after Mount Whitney. I think that's the most second or maybe the first most beautiful place I've ever been hiking in. And I was just like, wow, this is something else. But I had a box on a White Pass, and I have to get to that Cracker Barrel store and take my box. And they have like working hours,
right?
They're not working, you know, all the time, so I have to, you know, reach it. So I'm just hiking, you know, I'm hiking a little bit, filming with my GoPro, but I'm hiking, and I meet these two guys, the father and the son, you know. And the father, he started the PCT similarly the same time as myself, but he got injured, so he decided he will hike some most beautiful sections of the PCT in the summer with his son instead of a true hike. And at one point he asked me, so where are you going today? And I say, whatever 30 miles takes me.
You had turned into that guy.
Yeah. And I was like, whoa, man, I'm that guy. And I was like, whoa. So I was thinking, I was speaking with this guy, and I was telling him about these strange people that I meet on trail, you know. And he's like, who are they? And I'm like, you know, they're carrying super huge backpacks. They have blankets sometimes they have pillows. They have super heavy boots, you know, water resistant boots. They're, you know, they're clean. They smell like you know, like washing powder, you know,
yeah, detergent.
Or softener detergent.
Yes.
I can smell it for, you know, 10 minutes before I see him. I can smell him. And
that's how you can tell. That's how you can tell the difference between a day hiker and a through hiker. Is that that clean smell?
I was describing the day hikes, and I was like, they're so strange. And this guy, he was so smart and funny, and he's like, you know what? They're not strange. You are strange. You're freaking hiking for 5.5 months. You're strange. And he was smiling, and they're like, well, maybe you're right. Yeah, I am strange. They are just perfectly normal day hikers, and I'm like this freak that hikes, you know, several months, and you know, I'm dirty, I'm destroyed, I'm, you know, demoralized, and I just want to get to Canada, you know.
Yeah, paradigm shift right there. You realized at that moment who the weirdo was, and it was you.
Yeah. I was super weirdo. I remember at one point I was hiking in Washington, and I was super tired. I had a bad night, and I hear some guys, you know, pretty happy, you know, in the distance. They're like talking, smiling, everything, you know. It was a great vibe between those guys. So I'm hiking closer, and at some point they saw me, and I looked just like hell, you know. I was just like, you know, like this, and I was so skinny. I was beard. I never take a shave on my PCT through hike, so I was like beard like this, and I never took a haircut, so my hair was like, you know, I was just like some animal.
Wild man. Yeah.
Wild man. And at some point, these cheerful guys, they just shut up, and they're like, you know, looking at me like in awe, like, and I just say hi. And I just, you know, went on, and they're like looking at me. And when I went on, maybe, I don't know, 3-5 minutes later, I hear them starting to talk and smile again. You know, they had this moment of, you know, who the hell is this?
Hey, Tesla, right now, those guys are on some podcast telling their story about the wild man that came through their camp. They're sharing this story from a different perspective.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, yeah. I remember this in Washington. Another interesting story. I was hiking, and then at some point, I think that was the same day when I met those guys. I heard in Washington there is a lot of airplanes, military airplanes flying there. There's probably some military base near. So I was, hearing the airplanes. They are pretty noisy. So I heard something coming, and I'm pretty high in the mountains, and there's this like big canyon down there. So I'm looking up, like, oh, where it is, where's the airplane? And at some point, I see the airplane. It's in my height, flying through this canyon, and it was F-18 Hornet, beautiful plane, and it was super close, and I see the pilot.
No way.
Yeah, and I look, whoa. And the pilot, turned around and he looked at me. I don't know. He probably didn't saw me, because I was just like a dot in the wilderness. But he was looking at my direction. And I was like just standing there, and he passed, and I was like, whoa, look at this. So this is the state-of-the-art technology versus my crappy gear that is like broken. And this is like the state-of-the-art pilot with perfect, stability in the head. He's just, healthy military man, and this is like destroyed mentally and physically, totally destroyed guy that is going through a lot of really tough, stuff in the moment, So that was like two, like
opposite ends of the spectrum. Yeah.
Perfection and non-perfection. And he left, and I'm like just like reaching my hand and like come back for me, take me with you. That was funny.
Nice. Well, it sounds like quite the epic experience on the PCT, a life-changing experience back in 2016. Congratulations on an incredible accomplishment.
Thanks.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about the Croatian Long Distance Trail. You were the founder of this hike. You created this trail, and you were the first to hike it. Did this happen before or after the PCT hike?
Yeah, after the PCT, because when I was preparing for the PCT, I was, looking at my country, Croatia, and I was like, we don't have such a big trails, It would be great that Croatia have something like that. So, people can go and hike for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. And when I was hiking on the PCT,
before I forget, you were the first Croatian to hike the PCT. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Finish?
Yeah. I was the first one. 2019, there was this other guy and one girl from Croatia that finished also. So there is 3 of us for now.
And so you come back from your 2016 PCT experience, inspired, and you bring and create a long trail for Croatia. That's incredible.
Yeah, I was like, okay, let's do it. I will found a association. People will join, and let's do it. So we were like making a trail on the like screens, like GPS track for 1 year. Then we had like this, like in 2017, just, we were hiking here and there, making some difficult parts doable for hike. And then in 2018, I invited my friend Matt Vicinius from Portland. He was hiking with me some parts of PCT. Sorry. And he came to Croatia. And one girl from Croatia, she wrote me a mail, can I join you? And I said, yeah, sure, why not? So 3 of us, we started to hike. And 3 months later, a little more than 3 months, 103 days, I was at the end of the trail.
103 days, 1,400 miles?
Yeah, 1,400.
And there are 3 sections of the Croatian Long Distance Trail, and they're the sections, I guess, A, B, and C.
Yeah, A, B, and C. Section A is mostly like flat with some hills. Section B is something like, sorry, it's more like mountainy and full of forests, maybe something like Appalachian Trail. And then there is section C. It's maybe most stunning of all of sections. The thing I have to say about Croatian Long Distance Trail, that it's like some mixture of El Camino in Spain, Appalachian Trail on the East Coast, and maybe Pacific Crest on the West Coast.
Wow,
so it's
what a combination.
Yeah, so at some point you have lots of villages, lots of, even some road walks. You have some dirt roads, tractor roads, and fields, that's section A. And then you have some hills. You meet people, customs and stuff like that. And then as you go, you bump into more forests, something like AT, like a green tunnel, right? Lots of water and stuff like that. And then at the end of the trail, something like this thing that is in your background. So rocks with fewer trees, fewer forests, but some stunning views on the Adriatic Sea and stuff like that. So it's not perfect yet. We're working every year. We are making updates on a GPS track for a Godhook application. And people are already saying us, writing us, we want to come, we want to hike. So yeah, for this year we will have 2 Croats hiking it, and several foreigners, mostly from Germany, because of the pandemic stuff. People cannot go to Pacific Crest Trail, or they're afraid to go, so they're choosing to hike in Croatia, right?
Yeah, and so you are the Croatian Long Distance Trail Association president. You've got a lot of great people working with you. The website is fantastic. I'd encourage our listeners to go on the Croatian Long Distance Trail Association website. A lot of great information there, a lot of great helpful hints, information about camping and resupply and what you can expect on the trail. Just a really, really good job.
Thank you. Yeah, we have good people in association, people that are working hard to make this better every day, every week, and I'm so happy that you recognize the fruits of our work, right?
Yeah. So is there a fee for a permit for the Croatian Long Distance Trail?
No, there is no fee, but people can make a donation and help us, make even better, because we are a non-profit organization. We don't get any money from anybody. Everything we do, it's just us, giving our own money for now. So donations are pretty, helpful for us to make even better. But we encourage everybody to let us know that they're hiking, because we give a paper on Croatian language that hiker can give to police officer or somebody that is not aware about through hiking through hikers, because here in Croatia we have some issue. In Bosnia there is lots of immigrants from Afghanistan, from Syria, from I don't know which countries. Those are unfortunate people, we feel bad about them, but they're sometimes going through the forest into Croatia, and police officers are aware and people are
Mm-hmm.
usually when they saw them, they call the police because they usually or sometimes they break into the people's homes or some huts, you know, and they break stuff and stuff like that. So people are not happy with that. And when they see somebody with a backpack, you know, going to the forest, everybody's like, "Ooh, who's that? Who's that?" If you have a paper, you know, you're good to go. Nobody will make problems.
So the paper identifies you as a through hiking weirdo, not someone
Yeah.
trying to break into anywhere. So it says, "Don't be
Yeah.
alarmed. I'm just your normal type weirdo who likes to spend as much time as I can living like a homeless person out in the wilderness."
Yep. I mean, American passport is pretty valid thing when police officers see US. It's like, okay, you know, it's perfectly fine. Nobody will make some, you know, problems with that. But when you're through hiking, you cannot make your, you know, reservation in some hotel, some, you know, places to stay. So that's kind of problem. But if you have a paper, it says that you're hiking, and from time to time you go to places, you book rooms or apartments or whatever. So, you know, police officers are not true hikers, so they don't know what it's all about. But if they read it, they can, you know, they can be more understanding.
Right. Are there any trail angels yet on the Croatian Long Distance Trail?
Yeah, we have like this community. It's not super active, but you know, we don't have much hikers yet.
Yeah.
So nobody will go on the trail, you know, with 200 cans of soda and wait, make, you know, great great party with true hikers because there's not so many hikers. But we have this Facebook page, and from time to time we write on that page like, hey, true hiker that and that, true hiker is near that and that place. If somebody wants, you know, he can help him. He needs, I don't know, laundry, he needs to take a shower, please help him, you know. And then somebody says,
Wow.
oh, I'm so close, you know, come to my place, you know.
This is a very personalized experience. It's not like the, you know, hundreds of people setting out on the PCT and you're just, you know, you're just one person in a sea of many hikers. This is very personalized. There are Facebook alerts being sent. Hey, Johnny is almost to your neck of the woods. Lay out the red carpet for him. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, because I mean, you cannot wait for the guy for 1 month on the same place, you know, because nobody will come. Just this one guy, or I don't know, maybe 4 or 2 hikers. I don't know. So you have to, you know, have some other approach if you want people to help hikers. And if you want people to help hikers, everybody feels good when you know, when you help somebody. It's a great feeling. And I want that experience to be recognized here in Croatia. That's not so usual that people are helping hikers, because here mostly people are doing day hikes and they don't need help. You know, they have water, they have food, and that's, you know, perfectly fine. But this is different, so people can experience this kind of trail angeling in you know, in different kind of different way than in America, but you know, it's the same good feeling of helping.
Right. Now, my current job probably won't let me take enough time to do 1,400 miles, but the way you describe Section C, you know, if I were to give you a call or send you a message, hey, I'm going to come do Section C of the Croatian Long Distance Trail, could I stay with you and kind of get some inside tips before taking off?
Of course, you
Okay.
you can fly in Zagreb. You can stay at my place. Corey Chan, Second Chance Hiker, was here in Croatia just at the end of the 2020. So I sent him a message, hey, if you want, you know, stay at my place. So he was waiting for a plane after a hike for, I don't know, maybe 1 week. So we were hanging out at my place, you know, drinking some beers, talking. We had some interviews for YouTube channels and mine channel and his channel. So, and we had some great times. I take him to some restaurants to try some local foods. So, of course, if you're coming, you can stay at my place. You'll be my dear guest.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Now, Tesla, you mentioned a couple of times the Green Tunnel, the Appalachian Trail. I know that your video, your documentary, Why Do I Hike, took place in some part on the CDT. Is that correct? Are you a triple crowner? Have you done all 3 long trails in the United States?
No, that was my idea after PCT. Why Do I Hike was filmed on Colorado Trail.
Oh, Colorado Trail. Okay.
Yeah, and mostly that's the part of where CDT goes in Colorado. So yeah, I was hiking the parts of CDT. Yeah, that's San Juan's and those mountains, right? Rockies, or what's the name?
Yeah.
And I'm no fan of Appalachian Trail because of few things. First of all, I hate humidity. So it's when it's humid, it's really a bummer for me. I don't like it. So that's the first thing. The second thing I don't like about the Appalachian Trail is maybe it's overcrowded. And lots of forests. I like better hikes that are like on the West Coast or somewhere in between, like Continental Divide, where you can actually see some stunning views. And yeah, I like those solitude experiences more than this party experience. I mean, I never experienced Appalachian Trail, and I'm 100% sure that I would like it. And I will not say that I will not hike it. That would be not good, because you never know. Never say never. But in this point of time in my life, I don't have a plan to hike it and to make this triple crown award, whatever.
Right. Yeah, I'm not sure there's a trophy or anything, but you get to call yourself a triple crowner. And you're not the first person to have those comments about the Appalachian Trail. I know some of our listeners are big Appalachian Trail fans, and they swear by it and will say it's the best trail. But other people have come on and talked about similar things, that you're trapped in the Green Tunnel. You don't get to see the incredible sights that you might see on the CDT or on the PCT. And yeah, the humidity is a big issue, and the crowds.
Big issue.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on the AT, and it goes through a lot of towns, so it's easily accessible for a lot of people, and that you can see that with the number of folks there on the trail.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a great experience, especially for me. I love American people. They're so friendly and they like to talk. It's different than here. Here, if you meet somebody in mountains, it's just hi, and everybody goes opposite direction or the same, whatever. But in America, it's different. People are so much more, talkative. They want to talk. They want to meet you. They ask you about, from Croatia, what's the thing about Croatia? I've been to Croatia. Everybody has something nice to say about either Croatia or that I'm foreigner. I have a nice accent. It's so cute. It's always something nice. So I like that. So I bet it would be great experience because of the people. But I think I would get sick of lots of crowded trail from time to time. At least, I don't know, after a month or two, I would be like, okay, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
But Continental Divide Trail, definitely, I would like to do it. I would like to hike it, but it's for now it's not possible for me because it's too time consuming, and I don't have so much so good budget for it.
Yeah.
At this point.
Right. Okay.
I have a son. He's 10 years old almost, and 6 months to be apart from him again. uh, it's not, you know, it's not so good. So
Yep.
maybe in a few years.
Right. Yep. Totally get that. Hey, we're going to take another quick break. But while we're on break, what I want our listeners to do, because we're going to be talking about Tesla's documentary, Why Do I Hike? I want you during this break just to hit the pause button, go onto YouTube, do a search for, you have to do Nikola Tesla Horvat or Nikola Horvat Tesla. If you just do Nikola Tesla, you're going to get a whole bunch of physicist videos. So don't do that. But do a search on YouTube. Why do I hike Tesla? And watch the video. It's a fantastic watch. It's about, I think, 25 minutes long and really, really inspiring. So while we're on break, go watch that, and we'll come back and we're going to talk about why do I hike. Stay tuned for that. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. Hope you were inspired by that video. Tesla, tell us about the inspiration for making this video. When did it take place? Is this after your PCT hike, after your creation of the long distance trail, the Croatian Long Distance Trail?
Yeah, that was in 2019.
Okay.
I through hike Colorado Trail, and I wanted to make the best hiking movie I can.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna do the best of me. You know, as much knowledge as I have, I'll put every effort to make the best one I can. That was my goal. But how that, you know, emerged, when I was on PCT, I had a GoPro. I was filming.
Mm-hmm.
So when I went back, I didn't know how to edit. I was no editor.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked online people, is anybody knows somebody who knows how to edit, who wants to make a movie with me? So one guy showed up, and we made Pacific Crest Trail movie. It's called The Year of the Beginning, and it's kind of, you know, pretty, how to say it, it's pretty amateur, you know, movie, because of my filming. I was filming, you know, everything's shaking, but there,
it's probably better than better than my videos.
I have to see it. So you can see in that movie, in the beginning, everything's shaky, but as the time goes on, I learned how to film better and better and better. So I remember that at the Goat Rocks Wilderness, I was filming pretty good stuff. You know, I know where to put it to make something not shaky and stuff like that. So he made that movie, and I wrote the text for the movie, and it was, you know, it's a pretty okay movie. And then Croatian Long Distance Trail, I was filming, and that same guy was filming also. So I was filming on the trail, he was filming at some point. So we made another documentary, Croatian Long Distance Trail, together. And he's a great guy, and he knows how to make good documentaries, but that was not what I was searching for in movies. And I said to myself, okay, the next one is just me. I will do just like I want it. I have a vision how to do it.
Right.
So I signed up for a video production school. So 1 year I was.
Oh wow. Okay.
I was learning editing. I was learning filming and how to make good shots, and you know, how to make good sound out of it and everything. And then in the summer of 2019, I went on the Grand Canyon in May. I got some, like, that was like experimental, you know, to see. I wanted to see, will I do the good thing with this new knowledge that I have, you know. And I get back from Grand Canyon, and I was pretty satisfied. This was good, but I have to do better. And I went on Colorado Trail in August of 2019, and then I was, you know, filming it with this all knowledge that I collected over the years, and on this school of video production. And in Grand Canyon, I saw that what's working, what's not working, and then on Colorado Trail, I did the best thing I know. I know lots of filmmakers would do better, but this is my top, and I'm so satisfied because I did my best, you know.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it feels like a documentary that I would see on Amazon or Netflix. It was high quality, really enjoyed it, inspirational. I think you're closing in on 500,000 views on YouTube. It has really taken off, and it's only been out for, I think, 3 months. So
yeah,
incredible.
I was surprised. First, it was pretty, like, you know, not so good with views, you know, maybe few thousand views, because Croatia is small. People are not so into this outdoor thematics. So it was like maybe few thousand people that watch it, and they were like, okay, good comments, but it was not viral and nothing. And then my friend Chris, he lives in Colorado, and he helped me. You can see him in the documentary. We were drinking by his car, and, you know, cheering. That's him. So he sent the movie to Kelly Foro, I think his name is, from the trek.co. That's the outdoor website that's pretty popular in America. And she was stunned with the documentary. She was like, wow, this is great. Let's make an article about it. And then when we did it, when I answered some of her questions, she posted, and the movie got American viewers, and YouTube algorithm figured out that people from United States love it. And then it just flew. Just went off.
Wow. Nice.
So it was a little push from the trek.co.
Right.
And, you know,
do you think you can have Chris reach out to the Trek and have them push a little bit on my podcast? Have it take off?
Yeah,
nice.
I can do that.
Nice. Hey, I want to talk to you about the title, because I think it's very deliberate the way the title is structured. It is the word why, and then in parentheses you have, do I hike? And so it almost, I referred to you earlier as a philosopher, and this is why, I think, because I think that's very deliberate. You know, the big question we all wrestle with as human beings is why? Why are we here? What is my purpose? What, you know, just these huge questions. And I think, am I correct in that assumption that the way you structured that title with the, you know, do I hike in parentheses, it's kind of like I'm wrestling with the big question, and it also fits in with, you know, why I hike.
Yeah, you're right. The why is like this big question that's like floating above our heads always. Why this? Why that? And then when I hike, lots of these whys are getting some answers, you know. And I mean, the first idea, when I was getting the idea of making a documentary, was coming from people when I was a lot of time making some travelogues in Croatia, you know, in some libraries, talking about PCT, about Croatian Long Distance Trail, about my long hikes. And people almost always, at least one, ask me, why do I hike? Why do you hike? Right? And then sometimes I told them a really good answer. And sometimes I was like, you know, just not inspired. And I cannot answer that question in 5 minutes. You know, it's you know, huge question. And I was like, okay, I will make a documentary about this question, because this is the most difficult question I got asked besides, hey, what shoes do you have and how many pairs of shoes do you use on PCT? I need to make, I need to make a documentary about why. And those questions that I'm, those chapters that I'm like talking about, that's like pretty like universal, because
Right.
community. I mean, if you're like collecting stamps, post stamps, you have community with those people, and they're great for you. If you're like riding bikes, you have community of bikers.
Right.
So it's always about community, and
So
it's
Tesla,
always.
you made this documentary so you wouldn't have to answer that question anymore. You just point them to the video. If someone asked you, "Hey, why do you hike?"
Look,
here you go. Just take a look.
Here, take the link. Here's the link. Look,
here's the link. Right. And before we get to the chapters, because I think the way you structured the film was very intriguing as well. But before we get to the chapters, you make a comment early in the video where you refer to the secrets of your abyss, which is pretty deep, pretty serious. And I know you referred to some difficulties that you were going through in Washington on the PCT with your marriage kind of falling apart. So I didn't want to let that line just go by without me, asking a question about that. If you could maybe elaborate, if you feel comfortable elaborating, or if you want to tell me, hey, none of your business, Doc, that's fine with me too. But the fact that you said it in the documentary made me want to follow up. So what is this, the secrets of your abyss?
Yeah, well, when you're hiking, you're just like meeting yourself in some personal, I lack of word, but you meet yourself in some personal way, right? And you can really go deep when you're like hiking for hours and hours. There's nobody around, and you just go deep in your minds. And I'm fighting anxiety lately a lot, and when I'm hiking, it helps me fight that anxiety. It helps me build my life in more quality way, so those abysses or abyss emerges on those hikes, because you meet some of your deepest places where you, first of all, you don't want to go there because it's not nice place. And second of all, when you live your daily life, you don't have a chance to go there. You go to work, you go and drink with friends, then you watch TV, then call from your boss, then it happens, it's just rolling, and you don't go to those secret places in your inner self. Those places are scary, and those are those abyss. That's this abyss, scary place where you're alone. You are in the end, you're alone. I mean, you have friends, you have family, you have children, but when you open your eyes for the first time as a child, you're alone. In the mother's womb, you're alone. And when you die, you're alone. So every human being, I think, has this big black balloon of loneliness inside of him. And some people are great with masking the balloon, masking this emptiness, and some are not. I'm not. So, and I don't want to mask anything inside of me. I have this blackness inside of me that is here. I want to explore it. I want to fill it with with knowledge, with, some insights. I want to meet myself when I'm the most disgusting human being that I can imagine, and when I'm the most, beautiful human being that I can imagine. I'm all in between, all in between. And we usually want to see this perfect side of us, and we don't want to see this bad side of us. That's this black side, black lonely side of humans. And when I'm hiking, sometimes I just sink into this black holes of my personality, and I'm exploring. And sometimes it's terrible, sometimes it's not nice, but it's a school of life. And with every new hike, I learn something new about myself, about my automatic reactions, and how to overcome those automatic reactions that usually hurt other people or hurt me, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think that may resonate with a lot of people who are listening, who are hikers and spend a lot of time on the trail, because it's true. You spend most of the time out on the trail in your own head, thinking and kind of exploring not only the wilderness, but the inner wilderness.
Yeah.
And so I think that may resonate with a lot of folks. A lot of people who are out on the long distance trails in particular either are working on something, working on working through issues in their lives, or maybe they have started the trail and they didn't realize they needed to work on something, but through the process of spending so much time inside your head, that's just what happens. You explore yourself and work on yourself.
Yeah, I mean, the true hike is like a lifetime. You have you're born on the beginning, you're like getting older, you're just like super old, and then your hike dies, and your true hiker, dies at that point. So that's like a life. And then you learn, things happen, you're unexperienced in the beginning, and then you're super experienced at the end. And the things just open for you at lots of things inside you. And I think it's a great thing that you said, like inner wilderness. That's the perfect word, because we all are wild, somewhat wild inside, and we need to tame that wilderness, not completely, but definitely, we need to dive in, and to meet ourselves, to to make the best of our lives.
Yeah, to continue that metaphor, we have to find the trail through that inner wilderness.
Yeah, we have to find the trail, and that trail is not easy.
Right.
It's lots of uphills, lots of downhills. It's super intense, super tough. And I remember at some points in Washington, I was stumbling, I was falling down on my knees, I was crying. It was really tough. And at some other points, I was ecstatic. I was just like, I was feeling just I was in heaven, So it's a way of extremes, definitely.
And it's
Inner
not
extreme. Yeah.
And it's not a well-marked trail either.
No, definitely not. And you can cheat by road walk, definitely. You can just put your book or your music, and like, woo, I'm good,
Right.
But definitely it's not well marked.
Okay. Hey, let's talk about the chapters and the way you divided up the film. We've got 5 chapters, and you spend a little bit of time talking about each one of those areas. The first 4 are nature, time, community, and mental health. All really well defined, and your comments in there share your insights into each one of those. And but the fifth one just says final chapter. It's untitled. This fifth chapter, and there is some mention of eternity as you're talking about that final chapter. And so I wanted to kind of pick your brain about why the first four were titled, and then the fifth one was kind of left intentionally untitled.
Well, because I had two endings. I had alternative which one to take, and
there's a director's cut. There's an alternate ending.
Well,
Nice.
I didn't make it.
Okay.
I just wrote it, right? So I had two endings, and I sent those endings to my friends, and I was like, "Which one would you choose?" And they said the second one, and then I took the first one. I didn't listen to their, what they said. And why is that? Because this one was more personal. More me. The second one was more like for wider audience, like okay, everybody get it. But this one leaves a little bit of like, wait, what's that? Let me rewind back and listen it again. And that's why I didn't put the name, because frankly, I didn't know how to name it. It's just, that was just the burst, the explosion. It was written in one creative explosion of my mind, in my emotions. It was the end of the film, and I was just create my creativity, and my emotions was just like crazy. Boom! That was like a big bang, and I was just writing, and it just felt right to name it just the final chapter, because final chapter, just that word final is perfect. It's final, it's over. I said it all. I just nailed my thoughts. I just crushed it down. That's it. It's final chapter, no more. Don't expect more. It's final.
Very good. What when people watch this, what do you hope they take away from it? What is the message you wanted to have them leave with?
Well, I think I want people I want to inspire people to go beyond their beliefs, beyond their believing what they can do or they cannot do. You remember that part when I started to believe that I can do it. So lots of people, they just don't believe in themselves. I can't do that. I can't do that. So one of my intentions was to inspire people to go, to see like, wow, this is so beautiful. Because lots of documentaries I see about wilderness are first person experiences. The guys carrying GoPro, just like my first documentary. Shaky, and then some random thoughts that people are saying on the trail. Oh, look at this mountain, this you need this equipment or that equipment. So everything is just like, most of the documentaries or videos about hiking and outdoors are like pretty, I don't know how to say it. They're like, if you see one, you've seen it all, right? And I wanted to make a bit artsy, on the artsy side, to be more arty, so people can learn something, people can see something, people can relate to, and people can inspire their, be inspired, and something like that. So I wanted this documentary to be more like documentaries that we don't have. So documentaries that I haven't seen, I haven't been inspired by any documentary whatsoever to do this one. And that was my idea. That was my, I wanted to show people different side of wilderness, my side of wilderness, how I see it, how I think it should be. And from that point, let's see what happens. And the reactions are really good. I really don't have haters, comments like, what's the, maybe 2 or 3 comments are not so good, but most comments are good. Lots of likes, people like it. So I think this approach was pretty good, good punch.
Yeah, I would say you were successful in that purpose of trying to inspire people. It was very inspirational. And again, if you did not take advantage of our second break in this podcast to watch it, make sure you watch it when we're finished here. Really, really good stuff. All right, what is next for Tesla? What's up next on the adventure agenda?
Well, I'm trying to make my YouTube channel a bit, more. I want to put more videos, like regularly, every week, one video. So that's my plan, to make more videos, more hiking related videos. So to make my hiking channel, more viral. I mean, my movie has almost 500,000 views, but other videos don't have that luck. It's just didn't, hook the algorithm of YouTube. So I want that to go in that direction, because I think I have a lot to say to community, to hiking community. I think people love my hiking videos and my approach to filming, to storytelling. So that's my idea. But what I want to do this season, first of all, I will go on hiking trips in Croatia, and record some 2-day, 3-day hikes around Croatia, the most stunning ones, right? And I will put regularly on my YouTube channel.
Okay.
And then in April, I plan to go in Bosnia and Herzegovina. That's just country that is neighbor to Croatia, right? And I will hike there in some most stunning hikes, and also 2-3-day hikes. I will film that. In June, I plan to go on Tour de Mont Blanc. That's France, Swiss, and Italy. That's like just the loop around Mont Blanc. I don't know, maybe 9 or 10 days hike. I will record it. It's stunning. It's beautiful. Alps are really, really
right. It's like 100-mile loop in the Alps, right?
Yeah, 100-mile loop,
incredible.
A little bit more. Yeah, incredible. I never been there, so and it's not so close. It's maybe, I don't know, 18-hour drive from Zagreb, so it's not so far away. So that's my plan for June. In July, I plan to visit Georgia and Russia, Mount Elbrus. That's the highest peak in Europe. And I have a story with my friend. He's a Land Rover fan. Land Rovers, the great cars, right?
Right. And
he has one, and we will try to go and reach the Land Rover that stuck on Elbrus in 1996. They wanted to go on Elbrus with the Land Rover, and they did it with some ropes and stuff like that. And at some point, the ropes broke, and the Land Rover fell down 200 meters from the top, and it's still there. So we want to visit the Land Rover on Elbrus, right?
Wow,
And
I didn't know that. Very cool.
yeah, we want to pay respect to that car, right? It's kind of fun. So it depends on some sponsors. We need some sponsorships, but that's a plan. I will record it. I will film it and probably make I don't know, 20 or 30-minute video about it. And then in September, end of the September, I plan to hike Arizona Trail, and that's the peak of my season. I want to record Why Do I Hike 2 sequel. It will be called How Do I Hike.
Okay, and that is in September, you said?
Yeah, I will go southbound from Utah to Mexico on Arizona Trail. That's 800 miles, 2 months.
Okay, Tesla, you have to give me the starting date and location, because that's not too far away from me. That's a few hours drive. I would love to meet you at the beginning and see you off on that hike of the Arizona Trail.
Great. I will be flying into Flagstaff, so we can meet there, and then even if you want, we can, hike together a few miles.
Awesome. Fantastic.
However, how much you can, if you have time, why not? Okay. I will be flattered to meet you and, on your grounds in the United States.
Sounds good. Hey, Tesla, you know where we are?
What?
You know where we are?
Who?
You and me. Do you know where we are right now?
No.
We are at that time of the episode where I ask for your pro tip insight of the week. What can you share with our listeners to make their next outdoor experience that much more epic?
Yeah. I am a bad sleeper. I sleep badly. Usually, so I like to have earbuds for sleeping. So that's definitely tip number one. Take the earplugs, because if it's raining, it's noisy. Tent is noisy. If it's windy, the tent is noisy. You cannot sleep. If you're afraid of animals, you hear, every once in a while something goes or some sounds.
Maybe a mountain lion outside your tent.
Yeah, just plug earplugs into your ears and you're good to go. You're sleeping, nothing will happen. But regarding hiking, definitely my advice is, pro tip is, listen to your body. Miles are not worth it. I mean, it's beautiful to hike 30 miles. I heard that people are hiking 40 miles and 45 miles, and that's beautiful, and that's, wow. I'm stunned by those achievements. But listen to your body. If you don't listen to your body will resign you. It will break, and you will not be able to finish your hike. So listen to your body, especially your feet. Feet are first indicator that something is going wrong when you're hiking. If the feet are not well, your hike is not going well. So that's a biggie. That's a pretty important thing to do, to take care of your body, especially feet, especially your knees and your, I don't know, rest of the body, right?
Right. Excellent. Earplugs and listen to your body. Great pro tips. Very good. So there you have it. That's it. Season 2, episode 15 is in the books. Hope our listeners enjoyed our time with Tesla. I want to thank him for joining us this week. Tesla, how can our listeners keep up with you on social media, and where can they find updates on your latest adventures?
Well, I have a YouTube channel, Nikola Horvat Tesla. If they subscribe, they will get notifications for every my new videos. I'm doing hikes in Croatia for now, but as I told you, I will go all around the world this season. I have a Patreon page where people can help me make these videos even better, because I don't have any sponsors. I do it, I'm not a rich man. I didn't get millions of dollars for this documentary. I mean, that's, just, it just keep my, minimum going, so I don't need much, but every help is appreciated, and thank you.
Okay. Remember to check out the pod on social media as well. We are on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you have comments or clips you want to share, you can send it to me at johnfreakinmuir@gmail.com. Tesla, I'm also looking for you to give our listeners your recommendation for a book, a movie, a documentary, a website, or a YouTube channel that will help them keep connected to outdoor adventures. My first recommendation, adventure media recommendation, would be to subscribe to Tesla's YouTube channel. But what else out there can help them stay connected to the trail?
Well, there is this one guy. It's called Backcountry Banter. He's a great guy, and I'm pretty introverted guy, so I don't like when people speak too much in videos. And this guy is just like minimalist, he just speaks what he has to speak. Other things, I hate when somebody is talking all the time on videos, so I don't watch those videos. But this guy, Backcountry Banter, if you don't like people talking too much, he's great. He's great. He has long hair, and now with his girlfriend he bought a van, so they're like just strolling around. I think he's a triple crowner, so that's a YouTube channel I would recommend. As long as the movie, I don't know, there is this movie with Cheryl Strayed. It's called Wild. I mean, it's okay movie. Every other PCT through hiker is inspired by this movie, so why not? If it's inspired people to go on PCT through hike, why not? I can recommend it. It's not perfect, but it's this emotional story about the girl. I mean, everybody knows about this movie, right? I don't have any other outdoor movies that I can remember now. Maybe it's not super outdoor thematic, but Viggo Mortensen is acting in this movie. It's called Captain something. It's about a guy that's raising his children in the forest.
Oh, okay.
Captain. I don't know.
Okay. Well,
I'm so sorry that I forgot the name.
No, that's okay. I mean, that's easily found if our listeners want to just go on to IMDb and check out Viggo Mortensen's films.
Yeah, it's Captain something, and the guy is like raising the children like in this super philosophical way in forests, and then their mother is dead, and they go on the funeral, and then something, problems happen, and that's a great movie.
Okay.
And it's regarded to some, hikers can relate to that father. So that's a great movie. Regarding books, I haven't read a lot of American or world books, outdoor books. In Croatia, we have lots of authors. Lots of them are my friends. So I have like lots of outdoor books on Croatian from Croatian authors, and I read it because, read this book. I bought from my friends. I help them. I bought book, and then I have to read them. So it's of not of use to recommend you Croatian book, right? Because nobody knows Croatian language. So, but there is like High Adventure, Eric Rybak. The first PCT through hiker. That's a good book, right?
Wow, I was only expecting one adventure media recommendation, and you gave me one in every category. So you are an overachiever, Tesla. Way to go! Way to go!
Oh, I didn't understand. I thought that I need to make it okay.
Very good. So that's a wrap from the John Freakin Muir studio. Any shout outs to friends or family, Tesla?
Well, my son, he's my biggest inspiration. His name is Roger, and I want take him on the John Muir Trail one day. That's the number one.
Nice.
Some 20-day hike with him. That would be amazing. I want him to see that, but he needs to be at least, I don't know, 14, 15 to remember it. I mean, he could hike it even now, but I want him to remember it. So shout out to him.
Okay.
Roger.
Very good.
Yeah.
Look forward to that hike, Roger. You're really going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for tuning in. Always remember, the trail is the trail. It doesn't care if you want to go downhill. It doesn't care if it's almost dark and you're looking for a campsite. It doesn't even care if it's so cold that you can't even open up the string cheese. The trail is the trail. Embrace the suck.